My hope that the throne speech will definitely focus on, number one, on Canadians' health. I think expanded testing must be available, and access to rapid testing for institutions and business is paramount. And I believe that our protocols have proven to be working as long as we follow them. The second focus that I would hope to see is on jobs. And that requires a pro-business environment. We can't have a lot of barriers set up and new structural policy that's going to create greater uncertainty for jobs. And finally, fiscal prudency. And I think that that also goes to job creation. I believe that there needs to be focused and targeted relief spending in certain areas. But it's very difficult for businesses today, especially small businesses, to actually get people back into the workplace if we have ongoing CERB, where they don't have to put in a day's work in order to collect some rent for their living costs.
There has been a suggestion that the focus, and this may have been changed a little bit, of course, as we got closer to the date because COVID has reared its head again. The sort of second wave is upon us. But there has been this suggestion that we should expect a kind of a green economy view, a kind of a new way of thinking about the Canadian economy. Does that worry you in the sense that, you know, the economy that we have now is struggling? And do we want to shift to something else, or do we want to fix the one we've got?
Well, I personally feel it's very important for the federal government to understand that Canada needs to stabilize right now. We already have a number of policies that are protecting the environment and driving us more towards a sustainable environment climate here in Canada. But I think we need to digest that. I think business in general is just surviving, if at all. We are not thriving. And a stabilization, digestion of what we have in place, and try to get some traction back into the economy before we see major structural new policy changes. For example, I think the clean fuel standards would add billions of dollars of economic rent that the economy can't afford right now. We have carbon tax, and I think so there has to be a reasonable evaluation of what the economy and what Canada can tolerate. And I also think our federation is fragile right now. And it's very important for us to work across Canada and build back our confidence. Have an environment that actually encourages investment and expansion within our businesses. That's the way to get us back out of this this downward spiral. And of course, we are going to have to look at containing our debt on the balance sheet of the federal government because we are in a downward spiral. And not that we didn't need measures during the pandemic to stimulate the economy and get people through this terrible crunch. But now we have to stabilize, in my mind.
So we've only got about a minute here. On that front, would you like to hear very specific targets? In other words, a timeline for balance?
I would. I would like to see specific targets. And most importantly, I would like to hear a positive tone towards business, all businesses. You know, we cheer strong for our sports teams. Why don't we cheer for our industry? It's important to drive our GDP. It's how we're able to raise debt, by having a healthy and strong economy. And a strong Canada means a strong Alberta and a strong province throughout our nation. And it's very important that we have the tone and tenor from the top in Ottawa that promotes business.
All right, Nancy, it is great to have your view on all of this. We really appreciate it. Nancy Southern is the CEO of ATCO.